Hello and welcome friends to a discussion video and modded faction showcase for Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires. Now specifically, the topic I want to focus on and talk with everyone about is Sayl the Faithless, and specifically what he could bring to the table for Norsca as a race to make them feel improved, updated, and most importantly fun for all of us in the community to play as. Now the mod I will be showcasing is SCM Tribes of the North, which really is a DLC sized mod pack, adding new playable Norscan legendary lords with their new unique faction effects and mechanics alongside tons of other units that, admittedly, some of them are taken from other races, but others are tweaked improvements of base game Norscan units. And the mod authors have added Sayl the Faithless as a playable legendary lord leading the Dolgan Norscans. Now, I do want to use this mod to help visualize what myself and what the mod authors of this pack believe Sayl should have as a legendary lord. And yes, I know the official release for Sayl in Tides of Torment may be completely different from what we see here, but most likely, I do hope that some of these ideas get passed or are somewhat seen in the official release. And also, I do want us to talk about ideas to make Norsca stand out again, rather than just being Chaos Light. And believe me, we will get into that when we move on to the campaign and battle side of this showcase video. But first, let's take a look at these faction effects. Deceiver: generic lords defeated by Sayl the Faithless may be deceived. Following a second defeat against Sayl, they will morph into a Chaos spawn and die permanently. Now, that's essentially just borrowed from Bellacor's Demon Prince mechanic. It's not as thematic as Bellacor's, but also this is in line with who Sayl is as a character. He's pretty much slippery and very despicable. Trickster: Sayl tricks even the Chaos Gods by bartering earn favor for powerful mortal mark units. Now, this is the specific mechanic I've been enjoying with my personal playthrough of his campaign. Essentially what this comes down to is having that option and ability to recruit monogod chaos units, which I really wish Norsca as a whole could have that option for them, just because of the fact that it does kind of suck to feel like discounted and outdated Vikings in the world of Warhammer and not having access to units that Archaon or Sigvald have. But also, essentially, instead of just dipping your toes in the water as Norsca for chaos, just leaning into chaos as a whole and yes, I do know that it makes them too similar to chaos, but at the same time, it does bring up the idea of Norsca as, like, let's say a sub faction or a subculture of chaos, if that makes sense. I do know that Warhammer 2 had subcultures. I don't want to go into that too much or veer off course with the video, but I do like that idea of Norsca leaning more into chaos rather than just dipping their toes in the water. All regions owned by factions that you have trade agreements with are visible, pretty much borrowed from the High Elves and Cathay. Sayl is definitely the type to have spies and traders in others' midst. Enemy winds of magic reserve, -3 per turn enemy armies in your regions. That's not necessarily, well, it could be a useful buff against other enemy spellcasters, but essentially the -3 per turn, that's not necessarily the most game-changing in my personal opinion, but also it's a nice touch for Sayl, thematic-wise. Charge bonus, plus 15% for mammoth units. The thing with Sayl lore-wise is his Dolgans did use a lot of mammoths in their conquest towards Nuln, and when he was helping Tamarkon with his quest for the Throne of Chaos. Sayl does essentially have feral mammoths in his starting army. I did use a mod to tweak some of his starter units, just because I wanted to add some other modded Norscan units like the Chimera, which I will be showcasing later on in the video too. Moving on to the specific lord effects, stealing 15% of the experience earned by other lords, Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity +2 for each confederated Norscan tribe, gives you a lot of incentive to have a very aggressive campaign to conquer the other Norskins and SCM tribes of the north, and also buffing up your magic capacity too. And also stealing 15% of experience earned by other lords, definitely in line to the Sayl's character as a whole, and essentially being the top dog sorcerer. That's what you see in the trailer too, with him betraying his sorcerer master and 3 other disciples. Now this ability here, Summoning Nightmaw. Now I do want to say that with this mod, Nightmaw is not a separate legendary hero in your army slot. He does not take up that army slot, which is nice, but also at the same time, he only appears once the battle actually starts with Sayl, and essentially Nightmaw does act like a bodyguard, like what Prell does with Heinrich Kemmler, and I have a feeling that this may potentially come down to what Nightmaw is released for the actual DLC. Now, I do want to ask all of you in the comments, do you think that Nightmaw should be a separate legendary hero that takes up an army slot? That would be nice in order to transfer him between Sayl and other lords. And also, of course, when it comes to playing as other Norscan legendary lords, to have that ability to include Nightmaw in an army that Sayl isn't a part of, if that makes sense. Or do you believe that Nightmaw should permanently be tied to Sayl, as seen with this ability here? Now there's pros and cons and different strategies for each of those. I do want to hear from all of you in the comments which would be more lore friendly, but also which would be your personal preference. Now I do want to take a look at Sayl's starting position on the Immortal Empires map, which is in the far northeast, I should say, section of the Chaos Waste. Now this, yes, I know it is lore accurate, but the thing is, with this starting location, you are sandwiched between Tamarcon and also Kolek Suneater. You are pretty much fighting a war on 2 fronts. Now, technically speaking, you're not at war with Kolek, but also with Tamarcon barreling down at you, it's best to try to make peace, or as you'll see later on, as I showcase in my campaign, actually having a military alliance with Kolek, so you can both double team and take on Tamarcon himself. I really wish there was like a dialogue dilemma in order to appease Tamarcon, so then you could roleplay as his vassal if you wanted, and take your forces either to defeat Kolek or completely bomb rush into the Empire, if you so choose. Now this is something that I would love to hear from all of you in the comments too. Where would you personally want to see Sayl's starting position? Would you like it to be lore accurate and in this region as shown in the mod itself, and pretty much Tamarcon's next door neighbor? Or do you think, now this is what I would personally want to see, if it was more north of Cathay or far north of Cathay, so then that way you, with this essentially blank area with Chaos Robbie's Immortal Empires expanded, you essentially have expansion options in Warhammer's version of Mongolia, and essentially it's pretty much empty space for the taking. Plus also it doesn't pressure both new and veteran players into making that decision on, oh, do I attack Kolek or do I attack Tamarcon? And also, let's not forget to, Archaon is not too far away either, and Grimgor is just south of Kolek as well. So it's not just the two legendary lords of Tamarcon and Kolek, but you have surrounding ones as well. Plus, your kind of next door neighbors with the Chaos Dwarves as well. So it's definitely not a campaign for beginners. But let's take a look at the campaign map. In my personal playthrough and for the showcase video, I was playing on very hard campaign, very hard battle difficulty, all of the endgame crisis scenarios on, but I didn't get that far into the campaign to really test Sayl's limits on endgame scenarios. Welcome to the campaign portion of the video, my friends, and yes, this is 15 turns in, 15 turns of the best case scenarios that could have gone for me. Now, even with the best case scenarios, part of it was decisions I made, part of it was also just luck on my end as well. Now, you can see here, this is a kind of crazy army build we have going on too. Like I mentioned before, Monogod Chaos units at our availability, and these chosen of Tzeentch, I did not make them through warband upgrades, and yes, I am using a mod that gives us different kinds of warband upgrades that it's pretty much borrowed from the Warriors of Chaos. It's not just available for Norsca, but for other factions as well. I've done it in several of my Let's Play videos too. It's been a lot of fun, but having that option for Norsca to upgrade their vanilla Norscan units to Chaos touched ones, that would be really fun, and it would make a lot of different long playthroughs for the community as well. And being able to have that option for us gives us different incentives to continue on with our campaigns as well. Now, what I mentioned before too, with Sayl's Trickery mechanic, I'm not sure what that's going to turn into with the official release, but I really love what the mod authors have done here too. So essentially what Sayl's Trickery becomes is Sayl's Ritual. Perform the ritual to trick the gods and gain access to powerful chosen units. Now, you do gain access to monogod chosen units, but essentially the rewards you receive will increase if your favor to any god is higher than 10, and that comes down to the allegiance of the god mechanic when you raise a settlement in the name of one of the 4 chaos gods. The Chosen of Tzeentch I got after clicking this button and choosing the Tzeentch option, and also the Warriors of Tzeentch I did upgrade from one of my base game Norskins, and yeah, it's what I was mentioning too. Instead of just dipping your toes in the water as Chaos Norskins, really leaning into it and dedicating yourself to one or all of the Chaos gods. And well, you don't have any penalties like the Warriors of Chaos do when it comes to Chaos God authorities, just having an amalgamation of different units to throw at your enemies. Now, admittedly, I did use a mod to tweak around the different starting units of Sayl's army. There was a bunch of mammoths and Norscan warhounds, poison variants, but also I really hope, and I'm pretty sure this will happen in the official release, that the Chimera is one of the starting units for Sayl's army. Now, with the Chimera in this modded version, it does play the role as kind of like a Hydra in a way, in terms of having a breath attack, but also having a high mass and also very strong weapon strength to take on other monsters or barrel through enemy infantry. The Norscan Ware, these are essentially very mutated and cursed werewolves. They're like skin wolves of the base Norscan faction, but also they have different tentacles, other animal parts sticking out of them. We'll definitely take a look on the campaign side of the map too. I do actually like Sayl on his chariot rather than mammoth, and even though the mammoth itself is very powerful to use in battle, just having that extra mobility to just zoom around and casting spells left and right as Sayl makes him very tactical in battle too. And instead of having Night Maw take up a slot in your army, you do have the legendary hero Lokjar Bjorgir. I probably butchered that name, sorry for all of my Viking fans in the channel. A mighty champion of the frozen mountains who once betrayed his chieftain to achieve eternal glory. Well, traitors coming together, and well, that's kind of ironic in a way that they haven't betrayed each other. But anyway, that aside, this is what I have for Sayl's army. 15 turns in. Some of, well, most of them actually, if we're being technical, have been with me since turn 1. And speaking of turn 1, if we rewind a little bit and move back all the way to our starting position, with this mod, you do start off in the Challenge Stone, and you are fighting a minor ogre faction. The Challenge Stone itself, it's fairly easy to take, but you do have incentive to take it immediately on turn 1 because your next door neighbor is Kolek Sun Eater. Part of the mod itself is if the Warriors of Chaos capture a specific Dark Fortress site, then you become their vassals, and we did not want to have to face any kind of penalty for that, so we captured the Challenge Stone. Also, while Kolek himself was busy fighting several greenskin tribes down south here, I did launch an attack onto Dragon's Death, which was Kolek's only settlement at the time. Captured Dragon's Death, and one of the mods I am using does give us the option to force vassalization of our enemies once we capture their final settlement. So we took that, launched an invasion into the floating mountain, which was also held by a minor Nurgle faction, captured that, and then we did bait Tamarkon into fighting us, and I will showcase the battle portion of that part of the video very soon too. And then once we've defeated him in the open field, taken Zanbaijan, and with Kolek's help, the Gallows Tree as well, wiping out Tamarkon's faction, and then moving into Archaon's territory, the Writhing Fortress, which, well, yeah, no, it was a very difficult campaign. It may look like that I'm absolutely killing it with how far I got into the campaign and how many victories I have over both Tamarkon, Archaon, and also Kolek. 3 very difficult legendary lords to be facing within the first 10 turns of the campaign, and also to an extent the Call Norskans as well, which also have their own legendary lord, and at this part of the campaign making vassals out of all 3 of them. So Sayl the Faithless will have the opportunity to invade the lands of the Empire and have his own version and story of the Throne of Chaos. I think I might do that for a Let's Play series and continue on from this point or further on, right as I'm about to invade Kislev. That's an idea to talk about for next time, though. Let's actually do a little bit of rewinding, and we'll be showcasing our units in our fight against Tamarkon. Welcome to the battlefield side of the video, my friends, and one of my personal favorite new units from SCM Tribes of the North, the Chimera. The 3-headed Chimera is one of the most fearsome of all children of chaos, a beast whose progenitors were so warped that it is now impossible to say what manner of creatures they might once have been, and while we can deduce what kind of creatures they once were with the eagle, lion, and also dragon, and the official release will have a serpent tail from what I can, and yeah, that's a serpent tail too. So essentially it's pretty much all of the chaos gods represented in one terrifying mutated creature here. And speaking of mutated creatures, we also have the Basilisk, huge 8-legged reptile which prefers to live in warm or underground places. It is a creature of chaos, originating from the very first incursions of chaos, and is well established in the old world. Now that's the thing too, is I love the fact that with these 2 units it leans into Norsca's lore and culture of using monsters in battle. Basilisk itself, it is more of a debuff and hex kind of monster, with its poison attacks of decreasing the healing modifiers and overall damage output of enemy units. The Chimera itself, it's going to be just pure bulldozing damage. I have a feeling that its model was taken from the Hydra, which I'm very much okay with, and the breath attack, it's also borrowed from the Hydra too. The flaming breath here, 3 uses. And as we were talking about with mutants, this right here, the Norscan, where the gods choose some for immortality and some for oblivion, is it not thus the whole world over? And essentially one thing I love about these models here is a lot of them don't look the same, or you can't really see, you can't find two Norscan wares that look exactly alike. I love what the mod authors have done in terms of adding different animal mutations to these Norscan, well, very messed up Norscan werewolves. Yeah, you can see some of them have tentacles just sprouting out of their heads. Some of them have, well, they look like wereboars from the Elder Scrolls as well. I absolutely love and am terrified of how insane a lot of these models look. These are essentially kind of like your shock troops or like shock cavalry. Not really to be used in sustained prolonged fights with a lot of entities, but really good with spreading fear across into your enemy forces as well. We have Lokar on his battle steed here, and also Sayl himself has a ranged magic attack as well, but ammunition very low too. With his spells available, he does have access to both Lore of Heaven and Lore of Shadow spells at the moment in this part of the campaign. Only have Penumbral Pendulum as one of my main offensive spells, but it's going to do the job when it comes to Tamarkon, well, countering Tamarkon's blob of Nurgle masses. We will have the Heralds of the Tempest under Kolek assisting us in battle as well, and also Sayl does not have his War Mammoth available for a mount, but also will have this Feral Mammoth and also this War Mammoth here to cause some range javelin damage and also some bulldozing rush tactics as well. Now when I start the battle, that's when Nightmaw spawns on us. Yeah, literally right on Sayl. And as I mentioned before, he's going to become what's essentially our Sayl's version of Krell. And taking a look at his overall appearance, oh my god, that's absolutely cursed as all hell. Well, very much chaos touched. And I like how there's 3 heads, well, 3 heads, maybe 3.5, or that counts as an extra hand. But essentially what Nightmaw is an amalgamation of Sayl's master Shalkane and also I think it was 3 other sorcerers as well. Yeah, our Basilisk is just rampaging in the background there. But Nightmaw, that's what Nightmaw is represented as, is Sayl's master and pupil, well, not pupils, but peers combined into a very unique, disgusting, absolutely beautifully horrifying chaos spawn there. He's essentially Sayl's attack dog. But we'll be fighting this battle manually. I'll be ending the video here for this discussion. Please do let me know, everyone, in the comments, if you think that this mod is a good representation of Sayl the Faithless lore-wise, thematic-wise, and if you think that all of the choices would translate well in-game, do let me know if you like the modded version of Sayl's Trickery of the Chaos Gods, being able to quote-unquote trick them in order to get Chaos Touch units like these Chosen of Tzeentch, and yeah, having a Chosen available for your recruitment, that would be absolutely wild and a really good upgrade for Norsca. You know, even though that it would be copy and paste from the Warriors of Chaos, having that Warband upgrade ability and well access to Monogod Chaos rosters, that would be, even if it's only for Sayl too, that would make him a very good subculture and subfaction as well. And also for anyone who has played the modded version of Sayl the Faithless's campaign in SCM's Tribes of the North, let me know how you like it and how difficult you think it is. And now, personally, I think it's very difficult with the other starting legendary lords so close by you, but also I do want to hear your personal opinions. I really don't think that they should have his starting position so near Tamarcon, and even though it is technically lore friendly, I do think that it should be in a more isolated part of the Immortal Empires map in terms of having room for Sayl's personal empire expansion. If you want to eventually make your way to Tamarcon and maybe ally with him and relive the Thrones of Chaos, well, the Throne of Chaos campaign from the manual books, do let me know if that would be something you would like to see. Alright, I'll be wrapping up the video here and also trying to showcase different parts of the battle, or more specifically units, these modded units in battle. And regardless of whether you're a new or returning viewer, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Until then, I'll save you all a seat at the table for the next adventure, my friends. Take care and have a good day.
Taste the power of the changer! Magic is chaos! That is true magic! Magic is chaos! Nurgle, afflict them with a gift! That is true magic! Magic is chaos! Things flow through here! We'll be back! No! This was not meant to be! No!
Bolt of change! Moving fast!
We'll be back!
Marauders of change!
Yes, Lord!
Ah! Face the forbidden!
Marauders of Chinch! Ah! Very well!
Chaos Marauders!
We'll be back! The Changers Marauders! With fury and hatred! Give us strength! Yes, Lord! Mortal food! This was not meant to be! No! Now is our time!
Very well. Yes? That's throwing arms length!
We flee! This was not meant to be! No blood, trappers! Stab their feet!
Chaos Marauders!
We'll be back! Murder and madness! We'll be back!
Sorcerer Lord!
That is true, Nightingale! Marauders of Chinch!
Yes! Throwing axes!
This was not meant to be! Your will! Whack!
Quickly! I don't fail! Consumed by chaos!
This was not meant to be! Slay them!
Hero of chaos! Exalted hero! Now! Quickly! On calls! best.